Hello, I'm Paul Raftery, and I'm the CEO of Projects RH. Today, I wish to address the topic of how to pitch an energy or mining project to global investors. We always live in a capital constrained world, and projects are always risk sensitive, and we always worry about geopolitical activity. This is always important in mining and energy projects. But what's fundamental is we need to explain the problem and that we have a solution. Projects RH has worked on projects in resources and energy on 5 continents, ranging from copper in Mongolia to biomass in Latin America, rare earths in the Appalachian region of the United States, and solar in the Philippines. The fundamentals are always the same. When you pitch, you need to lead with the opportunity, not the project. What you need to say to investors is, we've identified the problem and we now have a profitable solution which is acceptable to the environment. Investors inevitably have certain requirements. Most of them have been to some form of business school or have financial professional training. The irony is that despite all the numbers, investors will find a way to invest in something they like, providing it meets their fundamental requirements. When you're going in and looking for $100 million, the investor is not looking for a 20-something-year-old recent graduate in a black t-shirt. Rather, they're looking for 20 years of experience, hard yards, mostly success, but somebody who's dealt with problems. They want to see people in a professional attire, and they want to see that they're balanced and reasonable. Remember always, they're going to be looking for somebody who's going to look after, quote, my, unquote, money. Whether you're raising energy security or mineral independence, you need to pitch to people who are understanding what you want and have a mandate to invest. For example, Jerry Saylors of Vital X positioned his rare earth project in West Virginia and attracted immediately US Department of Energy support. He also received environmental approvals relatively quickly, followed by federal grants and significant investor interest. Right place, right time, right person. The second critical factor is that your financial model is significantly detailed enough that they can use it to understand the project, but not too complex that it runs the risk of modeling error. Your model is your single point of truth, so it becomes the touchstone of what we do. You need to show where your project sits on the cost curve. You need to be able to talk about the total available market, the TAM, and what share of that you will attract. Then you need to have comparable financials. You need to have the IRR, NPV, payback periods, and CapEx. Investors have a matrix which are their hurdle rates. So you need to know those rates, and you need to know that their investment mandate allows them to invest in what you're proposing. They will then look at your assumptions and forecasts, and they will appreciate if you've been conservative. What is critical at this point is that your financial model holds you up to scrutiny. What they're expecting to see is at least 5 years of operation and then an event which allows them to model an exit at that point. Doesn't mean they want an exit at that point. It just allows them to do that and gives them the comparable numbers with other projects they're looking at. Many clients look at the fact that we produce for them an IM of somewhere between 58 and 62 pages, but 12 pages of this is committed to numbers. And they say, Paul, do we really need all this? The answer is yes. Why? Because investors want to be able to see 5 years of balance sheets, profit and loss statements, and cash flows. Our investors want this, therefore we need to deliver it. The third thing is you must align your strategy. You need to know your audience and what their sensitivities are, and no two audiences are the same. You need to know what they've recently invested in and what the hurdle rates and everything they used were in those investment assessments. We know from one client that their investor had very strict requirements. They needed to see a 21% return on equity and a 14% return on debt. If we weren't able to demonstrate that, we'd wasted our time, but more importantly, we weren't going to get an audience. What we're doing is building a narrative, not a deck. Clearly, we need to say, this is the problem. We have that solution. Why you want it now? Who is going to look after my money? And what the returns will be. Whether you're looking at the Australian Property Development Fund, ethical shipbreaking in Panama, or our Mongolia copper project, all these are represented in visual forms so that the potential investor can identify that we meet their requirements. Investors are not silly. They know you can't de-risk everything. But what they're looking for is honesty. You need to explain what you have and can de-risk, and you need to accept that there are some things you can't de-risk. So in the example of our Mongolian copper project, it's the world price of copper, and our plan is to sell the copper at the London price, known as LME. But we've accepted that. We told the potential investors that's what we're doing. The final message I would have for you is you need to think global and act local. Our global investors want to know you have local insight. They want to know you understand the terrain, the regulatory environment, the cultural and commercial issues. In most projects, they want to know that you've got local community support. So in the case of the Mongolia Copper Project, we're able to demonstrate that 23,000 local residents of Erdenet, the town nearby where the project is, are shareholders. They control 30% of the project. This has been a critical matter in talking to investors, because they then know that their co-investors are local people. Finally, I would suggest that people making a pitch should not expect to get a close in the day. What you're doing is making a relationship. Investors will take some time, perhaps a week, perhaps 3, to decide whether they want to do the project with you. They need to be able to feel they can go back to you and ask questions, and you won't think they're silly. What you're doing is building a relationship which you wish to last for many years, and it's highly likely you'll need to go back to them for more money. So what are we doing? We're using communications to show that we have the capability to run the project and look after their money. If you think we can help you with your project, please give me a call or send me an email. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm Paul Raftery, and I'm the CEO of Projects RH.